name is Tony Campbell. I go by the gamer tag Lethal with a U, and I grew up in Midland, Michigan. For me, gaming was kind of just always a thing. I can't remember a time in my life, I don't have a memory of an age where I wasn't like gaming at some point. You know, we had a Sega, me and my sister would play it. We most of the time wanted to play different games, but we got in fights over that. I played Halo really early on. It came out like 2001, and I was like 7 years old at the time. I just remember playing that game a lot, and it always stuck with me. I just would go back every month or so, and I just play campaign like by myself. And when you're a kid, you could just do that forever. I knew that I liked Halo, especially because my neighbors, everybody in my neighborhood played Halo 2 like split screen, and they were all a little bit older than me. So the only time I ever really played multiplayer up until like 2006, 2007 was, you know, when I would go over there and everybody would be there and playing. You know, I didn't start playing Halo to like go pro or anything. I didn't even know that existed. I kind of just played with people from school, you know, random friends. I made some friends online for the first time, and then I saw these videos on the marketplace named like MLG, like so-and-so. They were like event, you know, recaps. They're like an hour long. They showed like 3 games and had like Puckett talking, Sundance talking, and I remember buying one of them, and I ended up buying one of them with Microsoft points at the time, and after I watched one, I bought all of them. My parents, they didn't support me playing as much as I played, I guess. They didn't mind that I played, you know, but I kind of took it to an extreme. They just, I don't know, they didn't really get it, which I understand because a lot of people still don't get it, but back then in 2009, this stuff wasn't even realistic. I asked them to go to like 4 or 5 tournaments before finally they let me go to one. First major one I went to was Columbus 2010 for Halo 3. I got like 25th, which was pretty, I mean, it's pretty good for a first event. A lot of pro players place a lot worse than that. I look back and that is some of the most fun I had, just meeting all the people for the first time and like playing the tournament for the first time and stuff. And I got 25th, and I was like, I'm pretty happy with that. You know, I didn't expect to like, do anything crazy. Didn't have some godly team, but you know, I definitely was okay with that. I didn't even really expect that much more. I was glad that I went to a tournament. I placed decently, you know, was pretty much content with that, you know. I didn't like make plans to go to every other tournament because I knew it just wasn't realistic with my parents. Luckily, my friend Mike had convinced me to go to DC right when Reach came out, and I hadn't even really been playing since Halo 3 was over and Reach was just coming out. Reach had been out for like 2 weeks. Once we got on the road, I was like, I'm gonna just try to get a team, you know, play there. I didn't know who it was gonna be, and I knew Blaze. I texted him, and I jokingly said, hey, we're driving to DC, we're gonna pick you up. Then we just found Bullets and Napoleon randomly. They had a pass, and we played with them, and we somehow won. To this day, I don't know how we won that. Before I left for that tournament, my dad jokingly said, I think jokingly, I'm gonna give him the benefit of the doubt, jokingly say, he said, all right, if you don't make any money, don't come back, which I hope he was joking because I didn't have a team when I was leaving. So I think we made like $1,500 each for that since it was a combine. And I mean, back, I was like 16 at the time, I was a billionaire.
Just him and his 2 random up-and-coming friends, Amish Acorns and Adrenaline, they ended up getting an offer by Neighbor, who was like a top pro at the time, like one of the best players in the game. And Neighbor was just like, I'm just gonna team with these 3 random kids and see what happens. Got second at that first event, and I won Raleigh that year. That was my first event win. Went to Raleigh 2011. Even though Reach isn't the best game to watch, that series is one of the craziest things to see. Even if you don't like the game, you could hate Reach, but I think pretty much anybody could be entertained by that series. A lot of people can remember events like, yeah, this event was fun. Oh, do you remember what happened at this event? And I'm like, no, because I'm absolutely terrible when it comes to that stuff. I don't remember. I might remember specifics from an event, but I don't remember what city the event was in. I don't remember if it was winner's bracket, loser's bracket, what match it was, whatever. But there's 2 freakish people that when it comes to that, they remember everything. One is APG, the other is Lethal. And of course, they had just ended up being the weirdest set of best friends in esports. Myself and APG talk about it a lot. We can remember tournaments very vividly. It's weird.
I could talk about placings, like series, like things that happened. I can't remember, you know, basic things sometimes, but I can look back on that, and when you're talking with a bunch of like your friends, other pros and stuff that you've known, and everybody starts reminiscing, you know, everybody has those times about everything, but when that gets happening, you know, just being able to talk about that stuff and remember it so clearly is really cool. After Reach, basically got dropped by MLG. There was one Halo 4 event, and there wasn't like any sense of hope or future. Like everybody was done. Like people thought Halo was gone for good, and I did too. I got a job. I worked at a sports bar named Big E's Bar and Grill. It was attached to a hotel. I was nervous about getting a job, even though I was kind of old. I was like, I think it was 18. I'd never worked before. I know I'm entitled. Most people get jobs at like 16. I got a job. Nick got a job. Stacking boxes or something. I don't remember what he did.
Yeah, we were all working jobs, and we just go to these random events. And that was more of just fun memories, I think, than ever really placing too well.
We didn't really practice. We didn't really play. We just kind of went, didn't take it super serious, and had some fun. I got another job after that, right after, working for my county. I basically just did landscaping, which is a fancy way of saying I mowed some lawns. I remember when H2A MCC got announced, I was so happy. I did donuts in the John Deere. Then they announced the MCC Invitational tourney at the end of 2014, and I just remember saying, I need to be at this tournament. I want to go. I had some money at the time. I had been mowing lawns forever. I'm pretty sure we were sitting there like, if we get fourth and have as good of a time as we'll probably all have together, we won. We sat down and won. We had to win like 2 best of 5s, and they both went to game 5, and they both were really close. I think we tied a Slayer game in the finals, like the second series of the finals. We tied it like 3 times, but winning that tournament was just probably one of the best feelings of a tournament win, just because how we did it, and you know, we were all like best friends at the time. And that was when Formal won his 3 events in 3 weekends with 3 different teams thing. We were one of those, so I'm one of those 3.
Definitely after he joined or got picked up by EG, I think their offer to him caught me a little off guard. I was like, TJ, like, he's good, but you know, he ain't the lethal I think everyone sees him as now. After, I think right when he joined them, I think they got 3rd their first event, but then after that, it was just win, 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 win. And I think after their first win, maybe their second, I was like, okay, this team, because after that, they just started beating everyone really bad. And it's like, it wasn't even close. They just like went into events knowing they were gonna win.
The tournament wins on top of the salary, on top of the job, I was making pretty good money, you know, not enough to like, I'm retiring. When they announced that first World Championship, that is the most hype I've seen Halo have, like ever, you know. There were online qualifier tournaments with like 1,000 teams. They started the prize pool at $1 million. It ended up going to 2.5 million, and first place was $1 million. I get a message on Skype from Frosty, of all people. He messaged me saying, hey, you want to join our team? I responded, I was like, you serious, question mark? And he said, yeah, are you? And that started probably the craziest little Halo storm that's ever happened with 2 days left. It also started probably just one of the biggest storylines for Halo that it's ever seen, or at least maybe I'm just thinking that because I was part of it, but you know, I was working not as many hours at this point. I was working like 30 hours though, which it's a decent amount. They knew I went to the Halo tournaments. I had been working there through the whole EG phase, and I said, I'm going to a tournament this weekend, and it's $2.5 million prize pool. It's $1 million for first. So if I win, I probably won't be back. We won Worlds on Sunday, went crazy, had no intention of getting on my flight on Monday. Tuesday rolls around and I get a text from my boss. He said, hey, we all heard you won, congrats. I'm gonna fill out the rest of your vacation time on your time card, and then you're good. We switched over to OpTic, and I went to the house for that whole, you know, reveal in that Crossroads episode, and I stayed there for like a week, and I was like, I like this place. Nick lived there. thought Hitch was all right.
The way that this guy moves into the house was very TJ-esque, okay? Didn't ask nobody, didn't say, yo, man, can I have this room? This dude walks in one day with an Xbox and something, says, I'm gonna be in here, I need a computer and a monitor, and we're like...
He kind of just didn't leave for a long time, and he was just, I guess, started living here.
That was my first sense of what it was like to not live at home. And you know, you get the freedoms that come with it, but also you get some responsibility, which sucks. I think I needed that, because up to that point I just worked, played Halo, minded my own business, and in the meantime of all this, somehow I got a girl to like me. I don't know what I did.
I didn't know about esports or anything until I met TJ. I didn't know that Halo was like a thing still, but he's really passionate, and you can see that. He's a really dedicated person. Like, he always plays. He wakes up, he goes straight to his room and he plays. And you can see that throughout his everyday kind of life. If he knows he has to do something, he'll be there, he'll do it.
We did, you know, the distance thing for a while, but we still saw each other a decent amount, a lot more than I would have expected, because anytime we could somehow make it work, we just did. So we decided just to move in, get a place in Knoxville. I flew down, we looked at some places, and we got a 2-bedroom apartment.
It really was kind of like a no-brainer. We got denied for our first apartment because we both have no credit. We're 20-year-olds. We don't do anything. That was kind of like sucky for us and kind of discouraging. But when we got this place, it was like easy. Since then, it was just sailing.
One of the things that I appreciate most about TJ is the fact that he grinded his way to where he's at. You know, so a little bit like me. He's not one of those guys that you saw and you said, this guy's going somewhere. He's the guy that grinded his way and got better and better and better and better. And little by little, sure enough, he started gaining the respect of his peers and becoming better. He held himself accountable more than anything to his performance and to his ability to be a good teammate. And you know, now that he's done it all, right? Now that he started at the beginning of Halo and then worked his way through it to the pinnacle of his career, where he is on a team that is the favorite to win in every single tournament that they go to, has been amazing. And while all this, you're growing up, right? If you're this guy, if you're this athlete, if you're this E-athlete, this Halo pro that's focusing on this and still managing the fact that, you know, you're 22 now. Now it's time to, you know, get a girlfriend, and it's time for you to focus more about, you know, real life, because there's a balance. You can't just be this one thing. You have to have your life balance as well.
To all the people, which is probably a lot, that, you know, want to take gaming seriously, whether they want to be a pro or like a streamer, since that's blowing up now, and dealing with the whole having a job and real life and socializing and stuff, I'm gonna be honest, it's pretty hard. If you're trying to balance, you know, your life or a job with trying to go pro, trying to be a streamer, whatever your thing is, just, it's a give and take. You gotta prioritize what your goals are, and you can make it work.